one time, and we're riding out in the middle of nowhere, and I went down through a little draw, and you got to keep in mind this country's been homesteaded for over 100 years, and as I go down this draw past this piece of buckbrush, I just keep on going, no big deal, and he's following me, and it's about a big 5-section pasture. When 5 square miles, I should say, a section's a mile, square mile. But as I go past it, he's following me, and he goes, "Hey, my horse won't move." And I went, "Well, just urge him on." I'm kind of holler back. He goes, "He won't move." And so I stopped, turned around and looked, and what I did not see, there was a big pile of barbed wire, just in a big tangled ball, that he had kind of shortcut and stuck a hind leg in that barbed wire mess. And that horse started to pull up, felt it, and then just stopped. And that stopped that horse from getting tore up. It stopped him from getting, horrible cuts, or start to buck and panic and hurt the guy. And just because of that guy, he bought that horse that day. But that's a safety factor that you're building in for any number of scenarios that can happen or go wrong. So make sure when you do this that he will also stop when he's trying to get away from you. That will have to be a little bit more at the end of the rope, because you're still teaching him to lead. Very good. And then when he goes away and then you put pressure on it, then let him go past you, and just kind of send him out there now. And let's just send him away. And let him have as much rope as he wants, and kind of get behind him. There you go, and just use your whole corral up. There you go, good. Keeping that rope not tangled up around your feet or anything, and then just let him go. Now, just kind of as he goes around and gets comfortable, kind of work yourself behind him a little bit, so that you're more in behind, and slip to the side. There you go. Go ahead and slip behind him towards the rail. There you go. Just keep going further and further. There you go. And now start to put pressure on that and tell him whoa if he doesn't stop.
Oh.
Now stop. There you go. You're starting to work to see how he's lifting that leg up, and he's like, "This isn't normal. I'm supposed to come to bear." Praise him. Good job.
Good. Good boy.
Good. Now go ahead. When he starts to turn that head around and is comfortable, there you go. Do it again now. Let him go half a way around the corral, or let him get comfortable. There you go.
Good boy.
Excellent. Excellent job.
Boy.
Good job. Okay. All right. You see what you need to do here, and make sure he can do that on all 4 corners of it.
Okay. Back feet too, huh?
Back feet especially, because here's the thing that over the years we've gone to. I used to pick it by a front foot. It's very common to do that in the mountains, where when you say pick it, you take a rope just like you're doing and you tie it off, and you allow them with a strap and D-ring that is on his foot so it doesn't hurt him, because you can burn him this way with his foot like this, and not with what you're doing, but if you're to leave him all night long. And this allows them to graze, get some grass, move around a little bit. But that whole shoulder that you're petting right there, how is it connected to his body? Do you know? Think about his anatomy.
I don't know, by his head and his foot.
Okay, well, yeah. Let me be more specific. He's got a great big shoulder blade underneath that muscle, right?
Yeah.
And that shoulder blade is attached to the humerus of his leg, and the humerus is right there where it attaches at his chest, attaches to that shoulder blade, and it articulates in a joint. And then of course that's down to the cannon bone that you got your hand on. That whole shoulder blade structure, you know how that's attached to his rib cage?
By ligament.
It's all muscle and tendon and ligament. There is no joint, no shoulder joint like we have. you could literally take that. You could take. I know this sounds grotesque, but it's for to understand how this shoulder is put together. You could take a knife, start at the top of his withers, and absolutely, with a pocket knife, and cut down and cut that entire shoulder off of his body, and never hit a bone. Huh. It's all muscle and ligament, and of course tendons into the legs, but that's all connective tissue onto muscle. So if you have his foot tied, and you're tied off hard to a tree somewhere on the other end of that, and all of a sudden he spooks and jumps sideways and he pulls that shoulder out sideways, you can separate that entire shoulder muscle complex and injure him for life.
Wow.
Okay? In contrast, his whole back leg structure is all joints, from his hip bone down to the femur, and then down to the gaskin and stifle joint down to his lower leg. That's all joints, hinge joints, right? So you've got a ball and socket at the top where it goes into the hip, but then the rest of it is all joints. So it's held together with tendons and ligament and muscle, but they're joints, much stronger. So I've never seen a horse spook very far sideways. At some point, they're going to turn and they're going to run straight away. I had a horse when we were in the mountains one time. My oldest son had just turned 12, and he had trained a horse for a client. We took that horse into the backcountry to hunt, and with my father-in-law, we had a string of horses in each riding, and we tied these horses out at night with, some of them were high-lined, where they're just tied to a rope high across over the top of them, and some of them were picketed, like from a hind leg. And I picketed this mare with a hind leg, and in the middle of the night, we had a bunch of wolves come through the camp. It's just north of Yellowstone Park is where we were. And she hit the end of that rope and snapped the rope with such force you could hear it. It sounded like a gun going off.
Wow.
And she ran up to the tent. This was like 2:30 in the morning, and I stepped out real quick, and she ran right to me. And I thought, oh, man, she busted that thing up. I hope her leg is okay. And you know what? She never so much as limped on it. So all of those years that we've done this, and they just kind of come to the end of it, and then they stop because of what you're teaching now on the front leg, applies to the hind. So that is really, really important to me to use the right limb if you're going to do that, because if a disaster happens, they need to be taught how to respond. And you're gonna try to overcome, natural instinct to get away, and what that could potentially do to them. Okay. So really good lessons right there to do. We've got about 20 minutes left, and about actually 20 of our time so far was just refreshing, and that's okay. Let's go ahead and saddle him real quick and put a bit in his mouth, because we're going to progress for you this last 20 minutes and give you something to work on, and see how we can do. Now, this is going to be a little bit of fun. And you've got the bungee there that we've been using?
I do.
Okay, good. And I got to tell you again, I can't emphasize enough on this. I really, when we started this whole thing with the training, I'm thinking about what I need to teach you and what was taught to me, and that we don't tell people, because that's what makes our horses, kind of stand out from others. And it's been difficult for me to turn loose of this little bit of piece of the training. So, and I think over the last week you've seen how it affects him and how it really works on pulling that head around. And he's teaching himself how to do it. And you teach a horse, when a horse teaches himself to do something, they get that lesson really well. Especially if they can learn how to get out of a gate or a pasture. I mean, they learn it right now. So anytime you can teach them or allow them to teach themselves and set it up for them, I think it's much better. And so tell the group, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's just been really quick learning. I mean, after our first session, we pretty much had it.
Yes, and this is something that's a good point for you to make. And I need to emphasize is that sometimes we don't overwork the training. If you do, you'll cause problems. All of a sudden, they'll think, okay, I'm not getting this right. There's nothing else I'm doing, and they get upset. They get mad. They get frustrated. So this may be about the last time that you use this. I want to see how he's done it. So how many total times have you put that on him?
I think three or
Okay.
4.
Yeah, and that's about average for a horse. And he picked it up very well to begin with. It was very, very good behavior that he displayed last time when we put this on him. He did very well with it. So I was very pleased to see that. So let's go ahead and bid him up. And you've got a full cheek snaffle in this bridle now, right?
Correct.
All right. And did you notice a difference in that when you used it?
A huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Can you let's just for a second before you put that on, let's hold it up to the camera and show people what this bridle looks like. And if we can get Jake to pan in really tight to that, you'll see as Taryn's holding this up, they look like spikes. And you can see the mouthpiece, how it's curved, and it comes out, and she's got it as if she was going to put that in her own mouth if she was a horse. That's how it goes in. And these big spikes right next to her, between her thumb and finger, they're really long on each side. It looks like it's a really wicked bit, and it is not. It's very gentle, and it puts like putting your finger up against the corner of the side of your face, and extending it halfway with your mouth right next to it. If you did that, and then you push, you can feel how it pushes your whole face around, and that's exactly what this bit is designed to do with the same mouthpiece. It's a very nice mouthpiece. And you see when Taryn moves her fingers on one side or moves her hand, on one side of the bit is affected from the middle out, and it's not affected on the other side like that. You can pull a rein on one side and not affect the other side of the bit. And when you crush those together, like you did a kind of nutcracker at Taryn, then it'll only move that far. It will not crush down, and that front won't jut out, and you cannot nutcracker that horse's jaw. So it's a very good bit for what we're doing here. And to be honest with you, I used 2 bits, this one and then another one that you used before with the ring, because when they start to respond with the training that we're going to put in their brain, not in their mouth, then they will respond to any bit, or they'll respond to that halter. Okay, let's pan out, Jake, and we'll watch her put it on. You're all ahead of me.
Ooh,
I just caught up on my streaming. Okay. Okay. Let's stop right there, and I see a problem we've got to correct, and that is, see where his head is at? It's up above your head.
Yeah.
We need to get him to drop that head. There we go. Very good. Better. And just what I usually do is put a little bit of a and go ahead and put the bit around his nose so his head slips through it, and then reach up between his ears right there at where his spine meets his skull at the atlas of the spine, and just squeeze it so his head comes down. Yeah, see, he wants to avoid. So we need to stop this behavior. So right where the spine meets, go back behind the ears right there. There. Just gently, there, yes. All you're doing is squeezing a little bit until he drops the head, and then you release the pressure, and then you just keep working that head down. Very good. I thought we had this before.
Yeah, we did, and this is actually the first time in a while that he's thrown his head up like that.
Okay, very, very good. He's probably anticipating, like, I don't like being tied around, and I don't blame him, but if he does it right, it's very minimal, and we don't go back to it. So, okay, but I just wanted to see you recognize that, sometimes this happens, and we need to correct it when it does.
Good boy.
If we let him do it a few times, he'll just keep his head up there. Much, much better now. Now, go ahead and bring his head down again. See how you're reaching up? You should just be reaching straight out so that you don't have to move or reach up. He needs to bring his head to you. There you go. That's better. And the brow band comes up. Yeah, you're doing good. And sometimes it's just I won't say a fight, but it's a test of wills here, because he's like, no, I don't want to, and I don't have to do this. You know who I am?
Good boy.
All right. And it looks like you've taken the throat latch off of that, right? Okay, for simplicity purposes. Sorry, my phone is going off here. I'm going to take care of that. There, we're good. So let's go ahead and tie him around, and let's just see how he moves. If he responds to the pressure very easily. And it looks like my computer is locked up a little.
Good boy.
Okay, I guess my connection was lost.
Oh, you
I'm
can't
gonna
see
try
us?
to get back. I can't see you, but I'm gonna come back in. I'll see if I